Can I ask you a question, Steiny?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is a result of the Super Bowl, the score, and how the game went? Or do you think you kind of saw this coming like I did?
I think it wasn't just one game.
Okay.
I think they might have won the game and he'd still be gone.
Oh, you said that a few minutes ago.
Steve from San Francisco. What's up, Steve? How you doing?
Fellas,
Hey.
you guys were going at it this morning. I liked it.
What's
I like
up,
that
baby?
little raising voices. Hey, yeah, I expected Wilks to be fired because that defense did not play like a 49er defense they're supposed to be playing. They got away from the gang tackling and flying to the ball later in the season, which got them hyped up. And, you know, they need to go in another direction there. But I also personally think they need to go in another direction with the head coach to get another culture in there, because right now it sounds to me like that locker room is scattered now.
Let me leave you with this. What about – oh, you may be gone. But you blew my wig, Steiny. When Bosa said, I believe yesterday, we weren't prepared for everything, that's a shot at the defensive coordinator, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, that is point-blank range.
Don's in San Francisco wants to get into Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks been fired by the San Francisco 49ers as a defensive coordinator.
I'm gonna make a comment because I know the first game of the Green Bay game and the Detroit game. If they would have at least lost those two games, I think everybody would say, fire Kyle Shanahan, fire Arrow, the whole coaching staff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I want to make another comment. I think they need a good defensive coordinator, and I'll make one more point. I want them to get a good offensive guy can help Kyle Shanahan. You know.
Wow.
Appreciate the call.
Steiny, real quick, what do you call that guy? That would be an assistant offensive coordinator or assistant. What would you call a guy? Just, hey, Steiny, we need to throw it. Ayuk don't have it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would
now
see
you're
John
looking
Lynch does some of that.
You're looking for a D coordinator now. Rex Ryan's available. Belichick.
Somebody tell me how Robert Saleh is a great defensive coordinator. D'Amico Ryans is a great defensive coordinator, but Steve Wilks is not a great defensive coordinator. Because that's kind of what it feels like.
Well, I will show you the end of the season, Steiny. Under those two gentlemen, the Niners D never stopped gang tackling.
Saleh in the Super Bowl gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter.
3rd and 15.
Let's go to Gaber. Gaber's in San Bruno. What's up, Gaber? How you doing, man?
How you doing, my friend? If you remember me, you were almost giving me the color of the year when I was talking about Draymond Green and the stuff. Now, I just want to make it very simple and clear. We all blame in defensive coordinator and all that stuff. There is one thing. We could have had that game. I just want to ask a question, okay? Where's Kyle Shanahan? We are in the 5-yard line, the game on the line, okay? You're giving the McCaffrey every single run. Why wouldn't you give it to McCaffrey? Look at the throw, the birdie. It's like a kid's throw, okay? You got to blame Birdie too, all right? Another thing, all right? Every single time we lose, we have a staff, we have a team that it can win it by their own way. They don't need no coordinator. We only need to strengthen our defense. Like you got out and got Chase Young, go out and get another guy because we lost Greenlaw. That's always a big loss. It's a bottom line. It's not about coaching. It's not about defense or anything. Somebody have to hang the mistake on somebody else, so he fired this coach. The problem is the coach himself, is the calling play. Look at what's his name, Kelsey. He almost hit his own pitch because he's not giving him the ball. But when he gives him the ball, he wins. That's how simple it is.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate the call. 888-957-9570 is the number. Steve Wilks out as defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Steve Wilks out. Kyle Shanahan told the media that about a half hour ago during his conference call with writers. Steve Wilks.
So I guess now if you're a Niner fan, Steiny, or just a football fan, do you feel like you lost respect for Kyle because you feel like this is a scapegoat move. But again, just me and the whole black coach thing. You know, I'm Malcolm X when I need to be. This defense as a whole, it was lost before the playoffs. It wasn't it went the wrong way.
I mean, they didn't play great in the postseason.
But they played great. I believe they played their best football in the past month last Sunday.
Philmo Mike. What's up, Philmo? How you doing, man?
Mike.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Talk to us.
I mean, I don't really like the blame game because there's so many things you could look at in that game on why we lost. Things happen. People, ultimately, though, we didn't play a good game overall from top to bottom. We weren't buttoned up. We had too many penalties, uncharacteristic penalties, weird fluke plays. Like, you're not going to win like that. And then with the Steve Wilks thing, I kind of just feel like it was more so a fit thing. I think I kind of agree with Steiny, and I agree with you, obviously, Guru. I just think it was more of a fit. But I do agree, even if we would have pulled that victory out, I think Steve Wilks, it just wasn't a fit. From the players to what they were playing to kind of like the schemes he was trying to draw up and kind of like implement, it just didn't work. Now, going forward, I don't know if I want to see Belichick, but I do want to see maybe like a new mind, somebody that's fresh, maybe somebody in the college ranks that can deal with some of the new offenses that are coming on and exploded into the NFL. But ultimately, they do need somebody that could relate with the players. Steve Wilks did a hell of a job. He did a good job considering the fact that this is not his defense. You know, he tried to go into the booth. He tried to do him. He couldn't. The players were kind of pushing back at that. So I think ultimately he did a good job, but ultimately it also wasn't a good fit.
Wow. Thanks, Philmo. Appreciate the call. 888-957-9570 is the number. Steve Wilks, defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, is out. He's been fired.
Wow.
Kyle Shanahan announced that about a half hour ago. So the 49ers are in the market for a new defensive coordinator.
And again, from the jump, Donnie, whoever that person is that gets that job, you know, their first question is going to be, how long am I going to be without the Tasmanian devil? And that is Dre Greenlaw.
Let's go to Doug. Doug's in Berkeley, wants to talk about the firing of Steve Wilks. What's up, Doug? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah.
I wanna just diversify a little bit and get back to this. If I had to pinpoint one thing that the 49ers need to do, we talked all season about how great Brock Purdy is at, doing his reads, going through his progressions. He didn't have time to go through his progressions because the defensive guy for Kansas City took him out of it with blitzes. If I was going to prepare one thing on this team, it wouldn't be the defensive coordinator, wouldn't be Shanahan, because nobody's perfect.
Right.
Bosa says he can prepare us for everything. He can't be prepared for everything. Give the kid some time to go through his reads, which is what he is excellent at. Do something, so offensively so that he's going to get blitzed and block that guy. And that would cure that would cure the ills. He's going to get that as he progresses along our team over the next couple of years. He's going to figure that out. But we got to give him some time. Give the kid time, and he'll tear the defense up. And we won't have to worry about a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coach, all this kind of stuff that we're talking about, the sour grapes, because we're all upset that we lost. All that being said, Wilks was not perfect. Shanahan's not perfect. That's the one thing I would identify. And I think the game would have been different. The
O-line. Fair? That's fair, Doug.
Thanks for taking the call.
Yes, sir. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Brian Baldinger was on the morning show and was asked about the 49er defense. And this is what Brian Baldinger said.
The big thing was the defense kept bailing him out. to be honest with you, whether it's a Tig Brown interception or, Leo Chenal, stripping McCaffrey. The defense just kept them in the game. I mean, it's 10-6, 10-6, 10-6. You get the Luter, muff punt, and next thing you know, the 49ers break down, they take the lead. But I just thought it was just Mahomes. I mean, you got Mahomes scrambling. You got Mahomes on a 22-yard run on just a read option that they never run, and they ran twice. And, so you're getting a chunk play out of the run game. He ran for 69 yards or 66 yards. I thought that really helped them, just stay on schedule to be able to put 3 straight drives together, in the fourth quarter and then in overtime.
So, despite the defense bailing out the offense time and time again, according to Brian Baldinger, Steve Wilks is out.
Yeah. And again, Steiny, I think this relationship soured both ways way before the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and that's why I'm not surprised at this news today.
888-957-9570 is the number. You guys are more than welcome to jump into the conversation. Steve Wilks out as defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers just 3 days after Super Bowl Sunday. Fair? Not fair? You tell me. 888-957-9570. Let's go to Mel in Daly City. What's up, Mel? How you doing, man?
How you guys doing?
Hey. Well.
First of all, happy Valentine's to you both.
Thank you.
Well, I would say thank you first for Steve Wilks for delivering us and bailing us out throughout this, Super Bowl run. At the end, apparently, it's no longer fitting to the system. I believe Uncle Sherman needs to be the next defensive coordinator, as he can relate to a young core, and perhaps he'll be the one who can perhaps deliver that Super Bowl Lombardi Trophy for the Bay Area.
Richard Sherman.
I'll tell you what about Richard Sherman, Steiny. He loves his San Francisco 49ers. I listen to him every day. Again, I can't tell a man he's going to leave TV to come coach, but I'm just sitting up here when you talk about X's and O's and being able to relate with today's player. I mean, Sherman knows it. And again, he was part of one of the most famous defensive units in the game. I am curious to see if he would even be interested, but man, I am just not shocked that Steve Wilks lost his job. And to the caller, a few callers back saying, hey, the offense got 7, the offense. You are so right, but it's about power. Kyle Shanahan is a made man. Now, in the form of fans, you could want him gone, but this is how it works. And when you talk real quick, Steiny, when you talk about fit, get your ass out from upstairs and you need to come down here on the field. And how I watched that all fall out, what I deem like, I know Wilks is probably steaming inside. And then there was one interview, Steve Wilks was talking about Steiny after the defense did have its best game. He was like, he still was learning the scheme. I'm like, learning the scheme? You're the scheme. I thought you were implementing your scheme. So now you talk about what they were running. Was it all his? But when that happened, the blitz on Monday night against Minnesota, maybe you just couldn't come back from that. And I see Bosa left and right. He ain't going nowhere, and I'm not saying he should. But Steiny, he held out, and it took him a little while to get going.
888-957-9570 is the number. Steiny and Guru with you. And the news today is that Steve Wilks has been fired as defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Vincent is in Texas, and he doesn't like the firing. What's going on, Vincent? How are you, man? How come?
Man, so I've been on this online back and forth with everyone. They're like, hey, we need to get rid of him. But he played a good playoff and a good Super Bowl. Like homie said that you played, he kept us in that Super Bowl. And I still to this day believe if Greenlaw didn't get hurt, we win that Super Bowl. You wouldn't have got those runs from Mahomes, and you wouldn't have got those catches from Kelsey. So I can get that maybe they didn't like each other, and that may be it. But it was also his first year with that team. We haven't had a defensive coordinator stay for 2 years and forever. Why don't we give a guy a second year, give him time to build with this team, and maybe we'll actually win the Super Bowl.
Appreciate the call, Vincent. Appreciate the call.
And, that would take more money. You do see it some places, Steiny, where a defensive coordinator or OC will say, I'm staying here, and they get a bag. But I will, again, I'm not justifying the firing. I just understand it and saw it coming. And for the people that say, okay, and I just did it, the Super Bowl, the Niners defense was pretty good or okay, but what about the Detroit game to where maybe superiors or the coaches are looking like we were lucky to win that game, like the season should have been over there by how bad the defense was. So there is a flip side to it, man. And I'm not saying the players are off the hook, but Steiny, he's gone.
From the 510 on the Comcast Business text line, he was scapegoated, meaning Steve Wilks. Kyle needs to be checked. I agree there are better guys out there right now for defensive coordinator that should be hired. So if you can upgrade, I understand. But if Shanahan didn't have his last name, he'd be the one that would be fired. 888-957-9570. Steve Wilks, no longer the 49ers defensive coordinator. What do you think, 49er fans? 888-957-9570. We got a bunch of calls out there. I'll just keep getting to them. Let's go to Austin in San Jose. What's up, Austin? How you doing?
This is our man.
What's up, fellas? Hey, man. Enjoy you guys' dialogue. You guys got the fire going from this afternoon. This morning. Hey, listen, on this Steve Wilks thing, Goo, I called in a while ago, and I told you Wilks was gone, and I think this preemptive strike by Shanahan is kind of part of his playbook. I saw the same thing from his daddy back in the Redskin days, and I know that people don't want to hear that, but just look at his track record and the way he's handled people, man. I mean, the way he did Garoppolo, putting him off the side of the field, and even the way they handled it. I know nobody wants to hear the last thing, but the last thing wasn't handled that great either, if you really want to think about it. And now we get to Wilks, right? He basically embarrasses this man who's a coach who's been in good standing throughout the NFL, and he comes out and says he needs to come down from the booth. I mean, come on, man. I mean, this is one of the worst handlings of personnel. There's no way I would continue to work for a guy like that. And then if you think Richard Sherman's coming to work for him, you're crazy, Guru. There's no way a guy like Richard Sherman's going to come work for Kyle Shanahan. Come on, man. That's all I got. This is crazy.
All right, Austin, yeah, I love you, man, but just listen to Richard talk on this podcast about his infinity for this team and Kyle Shanahan, Steiny. I'm just throwing his name out there. Now, what he said, and I'll throw it to you, Steiny, is that even fair to go? But he talked about, and we saw it. We were at practice a couple years ago. Jimmy just on the side, like a trash can, because they didn't need him or whatnot. To handling a Trey Lance, I don't know. But what I do know is Steve Wilks, Boothgate. I knew that was not good. I felt like Wilks was not happy. And you know what? I just can't get over the best game the D played in a month was the game he gets fired 3 days after.
I mean, Robert Saleh was a defensive coordinator, became a head coach. Ryan's defensive coordinator, became a head coach. Wilks was a head coach in the NFL. I mean, are we really going to hire a guy with no coaching experience?
Right.
And Richard Sherman?